Well, it matters because there's value being left on the table, from innovation, creating a better customer experience, and solving problems in a really creative way. Diversity is a priority for associates who make up your organization, for customers, for investors, for trading partners. And the business case for diversity has been made time and time again. We know that it wins. If you unpack McKinsey & Company's May 2020 How Inclusion Matters report, it's very clear that the likelihood of improved financial performance, both through the lens of gender and ethnic diversity, is in upwards of 35%. You also want people to feel like they can be themselves and bring their whole self to work, not fragments of who they are, and feel like they're a part of something that's much greater than them. Purpose, empathy, inclusivity, all of these things are super important when you think about the power of diversity as a catalyst for innovation. I think that a lot of folks tend to use D&I as lip service. How to make it actionable is, number one, walking the talk. And that means you actually have to clearly communicate your goals, articulate your desired outcomes, and you have to be transparent about where you are in your journey. In terms of the percentage of representation, not only in leadership roles, but on your teams, this is also very critical. Get really honest and clear about where you are and where you'd like to be. The reality is that many of the supply chain organizations that I've worked with or that I've learned from, or maybe they've reached out on social media, they generally want to get started, but they don't necessarily know how. And I think that they're really uncomfortable exposing the vulnerability that maybe they aren't as far in their journey as that they would like to be or they thought they were. When you think about the global workforce and the fact that 37% of people actually work in a supply chain, a large percentage of those people are women. We want to know where you stand on diversity, and diversity isn't enough. You know, I'm sure everyone's heard the expression, I've used this in a couple panels. Diversity is sort of being invited to the dance, being invited to the party. But inclusion is actually being able to participate and being asked to dance and have fun with everyone else. But inclusion and equity, there's a difference. Equity is, are you given the same access and to those conduits for relationship building, networking, career pathing, promotion, upskilling, all of the things that we know are important in someone's journey in supply chain, whether you're non-binary, a man, a woman, however you identify yourself. Equity means that there is a fair playing field with equal access. And it's not the same as equality either, because when you have equity, all of those systemic barriers to progress are removed. There's a picture that comes to mind, and it's three people who are of different sizes, and it talks about how the fact that they're different in some way that's sort of obvious, that would be considered diversity. And then equality is where you give everyone the same stool. And all three of these people are looking through a fence and they're observing, I believe it was a baseball game. So everyone's invited and there's an element of equality because they all have the same stool. The problem with this picture is that they're still not able to see clearly and participate meaningfully in observing the game at hand. Equity is where each stool is custom tailored so that all three people have the same line of sight and the same visibility and can participate in the same way in observing this game. this is the nuance that we need to understand as we move forward. When we think about, is diversity enough? I don't think so. I think it's a first step. I think some folks are really uncomfortable with measuring that step. And what I would want most from people is to feel included in that employee experience and to feel represented. When they type in their company name and they click leadership under the About Us page, do they really feel represented at the highest ranks of the company, with board representation, with leadership representation? I don't think we're there yet. I think that we're having these conversations more frequently, and I get asked a lot about this. But I hope that in 2021 and beyond, certainly with the social responsibility activities that have happened in 2020, we know diversity wins, we know Black Lives Matter, we know child labor in our supply chains is wrong, we know that sustainable development is just as much about making those transformations in the lives of people, and it's not just transforming economies. So all of this together, I feel hope. And I feel that there's a promise that things will get better and things will change. But we have to start now. And it's up to you, whoever's watching this, to take the first step and influence this sort of outcome where you can.